The United Nations, after many, many years, has actually succeeded in getting a new treaty. All 141 nations in the United Nations have signed on to a new treaty to control mercury emissions and to control mercury pollution in the world. Mercury is extremely toxic. It gets out into the atmosphere through coal-fired power plants. It's also used heavily by mining, especially small-scale miners in developing countries. These people are, it's used to process the gold, and then it goes out and is dumped as waste. And mercury bioaccumulates, which means that if you ingest any of it, if any of it gets into your system, it stays there. And if you're a parent, a mother, it actually then gets passed on to your children. It bioaccumulates up the food chain. Yeah. That's why pregnant women, young women, and children are told not to eat tuna fish, because tuna fish has high mercury contamination.
Yeah, especially in predator fish, I imagine.
Yes, in predator, because it goes up the food chain.
Yeah, and bottom feeders, right?
Yeah, and like bluefin tuna is extremely high in mercury. They're finding some that are way off the charts. And it causes neurological damage in developing fetuses and in small children. So it has long-term effects. They can't swim right anymore. That's true as well. And this is actually a pretty big deal when you look at the impacts of mercury. This study that was done by the European Union, they looked at the exposure that we have. The 4,000 residents in 17 countries over the last 2 years. They found mercury levels in 1/3 of the test group to be above the amount that is considered safe. We know that there is a neurological link to it. It suggests that there's a causal link. I think that is actually probably more than just a suggestion now. I think they're finding it to be a huge impact. So this is actually a big deal. My question is, will it ever pass and get ratified in the U.S. Senate?
That's a good question. What do you think?
I think it'll be really tough. I mean, we've been fighting the fillings in our teeth for so long. I don't know if this will
well, they don't do mercury in the fillings anymore because of the thing. But if you ever had them, then they say that it's already
but we had to fight it for so long, right?
Yes,
that's my point. It's just incredibly tough to have things, especially with the Senate.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask you in regard to this is, it took us quite a while to understand the danger that mercury posed. I mean, they talk about some of the earlier examples, including the fact that it was used to shape hats, leading to the development of the phrase "Mad as a Hatter," which I love the origins of phrases like that. We did a story a couple of weeks ago on how it's possible that lead poisoning over the course of the development of a person leads to more violent behavior later on in life. So something that we know on some level that lead is bad for you. We didn't know the sort of behavioral effects that it could have. And now mercury, just from burning coal and things like that, is accumulating in areas that are possibly nowhere near the actual...
Oh yeah, they're already finding all of this stuff up in the Arctic as well. There are no coal-fired power plants up in the Arctic, and yet they're finding, as far as we know, that's true, somebody could have snuck one in there, but PCBs, they're finding in Eskimos in the Arctic. They're finding high mercury levels. Of course, they also fish a lot as well. But this impact that we have from coal-fired power plants, one of the other things that this study came up with was showing that coal burning, just the burning of coal, is responsible for 24% of mercury emissions globally. So if we could just say, I don't know, shut down all the coal-fired power plants and shut down the mercury pollution that comes directly from those coal-fired power plants, that would take care of 24% of the mercury pollution in the world. And that's a really big deal, that we could actually move the needle that much on that.
I don't know, I see a lot of television commercials and they all say it's clean. Clean coal's all over the place.
Right.
It's American.
They had Obama talking about coal during the debates. I think it was the town hall debate with Romney. And they were fighting with each other to see who could talk the most positive language about coal. So unfortunately, and this is another area where I'm not sure that Obama is going to be willing to do much. But it's good that there is the global treaty.
It would depend, I think, on how much Obama is willing to fight for it, because that does seem to be the thing that pushes action in the Senate. If he actually comes out and makes a push for it, I don't know how much energy he has for that based on everything else that has to happen in this country. But it's a big deal because we know that coal-fired power plants do this, and we know that it's affecting everything. Mercury is now contaminating all lakes and rivers in the United States.